This is going to be my walkthrough video on finding the interquartile range and just finding the data for the other problems, including IQR. So for number 4, it asks us to find the IQR of the following. And what do we got to remember? That when we want to find our interquartile range, what do? Always third quartile minus the first quartile. So for this first one, we know the third quartile is 50. We know the first quartile is 10. So 50 minus 10 is 40, and that is our IQR. We're going to do this similarly for B. For B, we have Q3 is 150, and Q1 is 0. So we get 150 minus 0 is an IQR of 150. Since this is a range of distance between 2 points, it's always going to be, it cannot be a negative number. But you can have a term that's a negative number, like in this other problem. We have Q3 here is 250, but we're subtracting Q1, which is negative 50. So what happens? What is the distance between negative 50 and 250? Well, when we subtract them, it's going to become addition, and we're going to say that distance of the interquartile range is 300. And then for this last one, we've got a Q1 and a Q2 and a Q3, but what you got to remember is the Q2 doesn't matter right now. We only want to find the interquartile range, so we're just going to take Q3 and subtract Q1. The Q2 is just a distractor, and 10 is our IQR. So now I'm going to do number 5. Oh, let's take a screenshot of that, actually. Okay, so for number 5, now we've got this data set, and for each of these data sets, we're going to be finding the same thing. We're going to be finding the min and max, and then we're going to be finding Q2 first, the median first, because it's always, you can't find Q1 and Q3 without Q2. Then we're going to find Q1 and Q3, and then we're going to find any outliers and the IQR. Let me just check, make sure that's everything. Yeah, okay. So for number 5, we already have it in order. Do we have it in order? Yes, we do. So let's just get rid of this number 5 so we don't think it's part of the problem. So what is our minimum? Our minimum here is 4, and our maximum here is 70. If it's not in order, please put it in order. Now we're going to find the median. So I'm just going to go ahead and write out my data down here. You don't have to if you want to write on that problem, but I think it's a better play. So I'm going to just do the classic way of taking out the numbers on the sides one at a time. And our median looks to be a single number, which is 15. So Q2 is 15. Looking at the data, are there any numbers that are really, really far away? No, maybe if the 50 was not there, and the 33 was not there, and then the 70, but I'm going to go ahead and say none. For Q1, we're going to only look at the numbers to the left of the median. So which numbers are left of the median? We have 4, 9, and 11. So what is the median of these 3 numbers? It is going to be 9. So Q1 is 9. Now we're going to look to the right of Q2 to get Q3. So when we look to the right, we have 33, 50, and 70. And when we find the median of those, we're just going to have 50 in the middle. And then now that we have everything, we're going to find that IQR by subtracting Q3, which is 50, minus Q1, which is 9, to get 41. And that's everything for number 5. So it's a practice thing. Once you do it a few times, you're like, okay, I'm taking a median, okay, I'm taking another median. Gets a little bit easier. So now we're going to go to number 6. And we're going to do the exact same thing. We have, it looks like an even number data set, so it's going to be a little bit more difficult, but that's totally fine. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to find our minimum. Is it ordered from least to greatest? Yes, it is. So 30. And then we're going to find our maximum, 105. Then we always start by finding the quartile 2, or the median. So how are we going to do that? We are going to order it like it already is, and then we're going to chop down some sides to figure out what this median is. Okay, it's halfway between these two numbers. So we're going to add those up and divide by 2 and get 125 over 2, 62.5. So there's our Q2 right there. And now we're going to move on and find Q1. So since 62.5 goes right here, we're going to take the numbers left of it. So what numbers are left of my median? These 3. Just like which numbers are to the right of my median? We've got 75, 100, and 105. So I'm going to find my medians by coming down on the sides and finding that middle number. Looks like 36 is our Q1, and 100 is our Q2. Do I have any crazy outliers? I'm going to say no. There's no number that looks really, really far away. And then I'm going to find my IQR by subtracting Q3 minus Q1 and getting, looks like 64. Oh gosh, oh no, 64 is my I. Wow, why can't I write with this sometimes? IQR 64. Alright, so hopefully you can start picking up speed as you do these more, but you know, the precision is the most important part, so please take your time as you move along. So that was number 6, so now we just have 7 and 8. So 7 and 8, I just added some context to it, but it's the exact same thing. Looks like there's also one other thing. We're going to have to order them from least to greatest. So let's do that first. What's the smallest number? 110, 120, 130, 150, 2 150s, 180, and 200. So now that we've ordered it, we can get our minimum, 110, and our maximum, which is 200. Then we're going to move along and find Q2. So if we find the median here, what's going to happen? Get rid of this and this, this and this, this and this, and it looks like 150 is our median. Now we're going to find our Q1 by looking at the left. So what do we have to the left of 150? We have 110, 120, 130. So the only median of these 3 numbers could be 120. And then we're going to find our Q3, which is that right median. So if I look at those 3 numbers, we have a 150 and a 180 and a 200. And by paring them down, we can find 180 is in the middle of those. So we've got our, any outliers? No. Looks like they're all pretty close together. And then we're going to find our IQR by doing Q3 minus Q1. So 180 minus 120 and getting an IQR of 60. Alright, so there's number 7. So I'm going to take a screenshot. And we're going to finish off this last walkthrough with number 8. If you have any other questions, obviously I'm happy to help them, or help you with them. Just please email me or get a hold of me. So we've got friend Loma, not our pal, she's our friend, practicing free throws every day for 9 days straight. And she takes 20 shots and records how many she's making. So first thing I would look at is, are they in order? No, they are not. So that's the first thing I'm going to do. Let's use a color I can cross out with. So there's 11, 13, 14. We got 3 15s. And then we got a couple 17s and a 19. So now that we've ordered it, we can get our minimum, which is 11, and our max, which is not Feldman, but it is 19. Now we're going to find our median, which is our Q2. So I'm just going to cross out numbers on the side. And it looks like 15 is in the middle, so there's our median. Now we're going to find our left median, Q1, So what am I finding the median of? 11, 13, 14, and 15. So I have two numbers in the middle, so we're going to average those. The other way you could do it is what's halfway between 13 and 14. And indeed, it is 13 and a half. So there's my Q1. Now we're going to find Q3. By doing the same thing, we're going to look at the numbers on the right. So 15, 17, 17, and 19. And it looks like we've got two 17s in the middle. So halfway between 17 and 17 is indeed 17. And there's our quartile 3. Do we have any outliers? Does not look like we do. If you have any, what would an outlier look like is if I had this data set and then I had a number that was like 100 or 50 or 1,000. So since we don't, I'm just going to say none. And then for our IQR, we are going to do Q3 minus Q1 and get 17 minus 13.5 is equal to 3.5. Okay, so after doing the walkthrough, I wish I gave you an outlier in some of these problems, but it is good to know what they are. Please let me know if you have questions, and I will do my best to help you.